Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we want to do the recap or the question this week? First. Words.
We can do the question first.
All right. Very simple question. Do you think you are ready for this final battle? Answering in character, of course.
Ready as I'll ever be.
No.
Is anyone ever really ready? As he told the gnomes way back at the start, courage is not being afraid, it's doing what's necessary even though you're afraid. It's not being unafraid. Probably would have been better wording rather than doubling up on that.
That's Kenneth. That's Taskell Tavern talking on his 18th mug. It's not about not being afraid. It's about not being afraid. When you're afraid, taps his temple. Eh? All right, so that just leaves Freya and Thrum. We're both muted.
Definitely got this.
All right.
I'm going to say with the Black Iron Army, I'm cautiously optimistic of our chances.
Realize I forgot to do my homework and write up a speech. I am disappointed in myself.
I did too, so.
You could, hey, if you still want to do it, you can try to do it off the cuff. I'm not gonna force you.
I'll probably try to do it off the cuff and like just fail miserably, but it's worth trying at least.
Oh yeah, it's not required, but it's the big moment.
Yeah.
I can't be the only player who watched the Return of the King and saw Thea didn't give the whole speech before the Charge of the Rohirrim and be like, yeah, I want to do that someday. All right. So, last time, a lot of stuff was set up, finalized, and put into motion. Estia brought back, shared information that Encephalon and his ilk were harvesting a great deal of God's blood from the quarry and taking them to the city. She believed that she was about to be executed by you, but Fergus spared her life and instead pitched a plan using a scroll of reincarnation to get her out of her Drider form, and then, of course, putting his thumb on the scale with the Axe of Dwarven Lords to turn her into a dwarf.
Listen, if you're gonna do it, you might as well just commit, okay?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not criticizing. Diplomatic letters were sent out all over to attract allies to your cause for the war. Thrum finally completed his training in the ways of connecting to the natural world, earning the ability to message and getting in contact with his mentor is not the right word, but the elf druid that had taught him originally. Iago returned with a small task force of adventurers at his back as Corsiconia elected to not be involved in the war. But Miku arrived leading a task force of fungal jungle death caps, which are a combination unit of cavalry mounted upon spiders along with myconids. And the wood elves of the realm of Avashalain arrived with their elite rangers. While that was happening, Freya completed the schematics for her Grudge carry, the device that would carry all of you to the battlefield. And with a heavy hand, you all decided that you wanted to use the Black Iron Army.
I've been wanting to use that since the beginning.
So I believe that was everything. For some reason, on this browser I'm using right now, the scroll bars at the top and bottom Roll20 are not there. I have to right-click and drag myself around. It's working. It's just taking some getting used to. Was there anything else that I missed that you guys can remember?
Trying to think, but I can't think of anything in particular that happened. We also got the people through the gate to arrive from Tianjia.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. The Ngami, but Tianjia is essentially. I don't know. I switched words together.
We have Ivy set up on like a throne to project mental protection.
Yes, so she can shield a total of 6 people with that. It's connected to like a bracer that doesn't count towards attunement. You can just put it on. I have a whole like narrative thing about the start of the session I was going to do, but before I do that, a question was that where are you guys planning on taking the Grudge carrier down? Are you going to do it right here in Dammerhall because you know that they have a tunnel that leads down from there, or are you going to take it out to the broken lab where you went down before and exit by the quarry?
I don't know. If this succeeds, do we really want to have a hole just drilled straight down from Dammerhall into the abyss?
I would say no.
And plus, what if we hit the ocean underneath Dammerhall and then we're flooded and then we have to deal with the water even in our own city? Listen, that stagnant water is for the birds, okay?
Fergus's
Insurance
worst
never covers
nightmare. The sudden sea has come to his house.
No, clearly we should build a second Grudge carrier, waterproof it, and drill down through the ocean so that the ocean kills half of them first.
King, I would tell you I told you so, because I suggested we build pumps.
No. Taskell has an idea. We drill from the ocean, and it's a bottomless pit that goes into nothing. So eventually the water will all drain out into that crevasse of death and nothing. So then that'll deal with 2 birds in 1 stone.
Yeah.
And thus the Scalds shall sing of the day that upon her deathbed, King Fergus the Heartless, 5th monarch of Dammerhall, said, "I did it. I killed the ocean."
Drown them, the women, and the children too.
No, the ocean can stay for now. But my vote is to go down through the broken lab.
Yeah, probably broken lab. It sounds like is the vote.
I've just pictured as we move it through Eversteam, he stands there on the dock for 1 minute. You're safe for now. Like cursing the ocean and promising to kill it later.
The real joke is the fact that why is there a breeze in the middle of the Underdark from the ocean that doesn't have waves? It knows. It knows I want vengeance.
10 miles away. Also, I am going to do this narration, but I just want to add to the final of that thought. That is essentially Fergus is Captain Ahab from Moby Dick, except his white whale is the literal sea.
Yes.
Throw more harpoons into the water.
Why does it matter that the whale is white?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just say the scary whale, okay?
All right. Our camera resumes deep within the earth, the molten heart of the mountain of Dammerhall. Here, standing upon a ledge overlooking the glowing, pulsating heart of the mountain, we find Thrum looking down upon it. The heart of the mountain, the source of his power. Thrum, you've come a long way on your journey. You look down at your hands, you see the rocks that is your skin. Your eyes travel up and you see the chains that are embedded into that rock, put there by the Aboleth during your months of imprisonment at the bottom of the ocean. It's hard to remember that this journey began over 10 years ago with you sitting on the side of a mountain with Eski and patiently waiting for your dumbass family to cross the field faster to where you're camping. And now here you are. Encephalon says that your power came from him originally, that it was he that connected you to the spirits of the Earth's wound, and that it was then the Aboleth who connected you to the Sunless Sea. But you know the truth now. Maybe he opened the door, but you're the one that welcomed him in. When you were wounded and in need of direction, you connected to the rage of the Earth's wound. When you were lost and grim, the cold, malefic mind of the Sunless Sea was your companion. And now, at the time of war, you can feel the burning certainty of the heart of the mountain within yourself. Taking up your axe, Scalebane, a weapon enchanted to slay dragons. Ironically, you haven't gotten much use out of that magic. But going to the war against Encephalon, you know you'll have a chance to wet it. You didn't take a deep breath. You swell in size into your immolated form, and you begin stomping your foot. Boom, boom, boom. We travel up the lava chute into the rest of Dammerhall. The echoing boom of Thrum's footsteps can be heard. All throughout the staging areas of the level 3 of Dammerhall, there are tent cities. The armies of the dwarves, the elves, the human adventurers, the forces of Zan. All of them emerge from their tents, all whispering the same thing. Drums in the deep. The time of war has come. As they begin packing up their tents, our camera travels to the monolithic metal frame, the Grudge carrier, where we find Freya standing, arms clasped behind her back, overlooking as groups begin to pack up, loading supplies, supply chains, supports, and weapons all into the carrying compartments of the Grudge carrier, all along its caterpillar-like length. I can talk. Freya, you pivot on your feet and you walk inside. As our camera follows you, we go through Freya's personal armory set aside within the Grudge carrier. We see racks upon racks of magically enchanted auto-reloading crossbows. We see hulking, gem-focused, light-based cannons. We see foe-seeking electric darts, titanic suits of stone and metal, the runic gladiators, the runic centurions. As she walks deeper and up the metal stairs, we see 3 battle suits, custom designed by her, prepped and ready. The aerial support drones that she has also designed, making sure the last refinements of the suits are finished. Next to them, row upon row of dormant steel defenders, like the one that she found in Fastervault all those years ago, synced up to teleportation runes that can be called into combat at a moment's notice. Freya walks through the halls of her own artifice, her own engines of war, the apogee of her genius. Now she enters her personal ready room. She reaches into a pouch she has on her belt and removes the most dangerous weapon that she has, the one that she did not create, and sets down the crown of Dammerhall. Much of it still glints with the true mithril light, but the black iron spreads across it like an infected wound. Power and darkness in equal measure. Freya looks down to her palm, where the dwarven runes she has etched in there is. She's prepared for every possible contingency. Passing her eyes to the side, she sees, on a bench, something from the start of her journey. A now slightly beat-up wooden crossbow. Gloomstalker, bound in an Gnomish observatory, and taken her as her weapon of choice until she could construct her first battle suit. Walking over, Freya picks it up and examines it in the light. All along its side are small dwarven runes. She remembers etching in with a dagger back in the fungal jungle. Everyone was worried about drow scouting parties at the time, so you didn't light a campfire. You had to do it by the light of a glowing mushroom. Such a simple application of your artifice. And the simple application of Freya's whole philosophy. Using her mind to improve and to protect people. Bendrak used that crown as a bid for power, and now you plan to use it to protect all that you care about. Now I will break for narration for just a moment and ask, because this feels like something I should ask, Freya, do you use the crown?
Freya is going to use the crown.
All right. Taking up the crown and placing it upon her brow, she feels like a distant echo, a ghostly limb, all the forces of the Black Iron Army. And with a single thought, she commands them to prepare. On the 4th level of Dammerhall, in the deep darkness of the abandoned mines, where light has not touched for more than a decade, there is a glow. The red light of furnace fire lighting as the Black Iron Army rumbles to new life in perfect unison. And as the gates to the lower levels are thrown open, at Freya's command, they march in perfect lockstep. Machines of murder and destruction, rolling war machines of impenetrable might. Leaving Freya overlooking her army being loaded onto the Grudge carrier, we travel up a few more levels to the palace of Dammerhall, where we find Nulgrim, War Thane of Dammerhall, preparing for the coming battle. A war council has been called. You are expected to be in attendance. You're readying yourself. Braiding your beard in the traditional dwarven ways as you have done since the start of your journey. Gathering magic and prayers from the ancestors. Preparing your equipment. The cloak of mighty magic. The blue scale that you remember crying from the dead body of the blue ghost who almost claimed your life. And finally, resting upon your mantle, the brutal single-edged longsword, the Grudge blade, the item that is your namesake. Nulgrim, as you walk over and you look into the Grudge blade, you see your reflection. And more poignant than that, the reflection of all the dwarven shades behind you. All the grudges yet unfulfilled. All those still crying out for blood and justice. They are your power, but also your jailers. You entered this journey with such optimism. First Grudge blade in 300 years, chosen by fate. This journey has yielded so many more truths. The terrible burden of a Grudge blade, the knowledge that even if you win this war and live, there's a high possibility you will not be able to clear your book. And you know the hell that will await your soul for eternity. You also learn the truth of your parentage, the lies of your true father, and how other dwarves sought to exploit that for political gain. Much of that optimism has been tarnished with truth and time. But just because this blade is single-edged does not mean it has to be a tool of an executioner. You have built much. You have changed much. The new Grudge Blades that are being sworn in are taught new ways, more chivalrous ways by your own creation. As you take up the blade, you remember. Oh, sorry. Got it. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. For some reason, roll 20 said I
Yeah,
lost connection,
cut
and
out.
I was
Yeah.
about to be like, oh
Saw
shit, am
everyone.
I
Yep,
mid
no,
flow
you're
and
good.
I'm about to lose it?
Nope, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Mhm. Take up the blade, knowing that truth of Dammerhall was Bendrak, his fear, the foe that you go to face now, Cephalon. Maybe you can settle all those grudges. Maybe you can't. But you can do the next right thing. You might not be the best executioner, but you can be a paladin for your people. Because you are Nulgrim, the last Grudge Blade. Traveling down the hallway, we happen upon Fergus's room. Fergus wakes up hearing the pounding of Thrum's feet, the signal for the army to move out, and the call of the War Council. And wakes up, as he usually does these days, aches and pains. The literal wound where your brother stabbed you in the back, both surprisingly and not surprisingly at all. The burden that you still carry. Hobbling out of bed, you look at yourself in the polished silver mirror. And on many days, it's hard to believe you're the same person that had your family show up on your doorstep and bully you onto some insane, life-threatening journey. Your beard is no longer trimmed and fine. It is long and traditionally dwarfed. There's a few flicks of gray, both from where the ghost got you, but also just stress of ruling an entire kingdom. You remember your days pawning things for the thieves in Corsiconia, and now you run a nation, about to lead an army into battle to save the world. You've come so far, and as you look down at the mechanical hand that was severed, you've lost much as well. On. And you also remember Healy. Yes, you have lost much. You turn to your war chest, where your equipment is found. You open it, and you see everything that you have gained. You take out the ethereal horn bow crafted from the antlers of a magical stag that you hunted on your own in the forest of Avashalane, crafted by a elven huntress to be your weapon. You have the misty marrow flute, an instrument crafted from the exact same bone, blessed by the spirits of that forest, for your own compassion and your understanding. You have a brace of healing potions, products of your own administration prowess. You have the crown of Dammerhall, though not magical like the one Freya possesses. It was awarded to you by your people when you swore to uphold and protect them. You don your equipment, and you take up the axe of the Dwarven Lords. Every time you touch it, you can feel just the barest hint of echoes of your forebears. You know the responsibility that lies upon you. And though you have changed much, in many ways you haven't changed at all. You still wish to see a world built better. Your compassion and your willingness to approach outsiders is the reason why that army outside the palace is as large as it is. Though your form may shift and change, your convictions have remained unwavering. And even though the war has not yet begun, already in the taverns all throughout Dammerhall and in the world beyond, those have begun to sing of the deeds of King Fergus the Heartless of Dammerhall, a name most ironic. Taking up your weapons, you depart for the War Council. We travel up the mountain to find our final person in our party. Up on a snowy peaks of the surface entrance of Dammerhall, we find Haskell, kneeling, finishing his morning prayers. It is not uncommon for when clerics of Father Mountain, in a time of trouble, to pray at the peak of a mountain, gazing out to perhaps catch a glimpse of their Father God. Oh, well, everyone except Richard just disappeared from Roll20.
Yeah, Roll20 is
Yeah, I just reloaded it. That's why I'm showing up.
Gotcha.
A reload.
Yeah, no, Roll20 just I think had a massive like server crash or something because I noticed that too.
I'm not able to access it.
Well, good thing I'm doing
it. It took me a second to load in.
Keep the narrative going.
Yep. Taskell praying to the mountain. You conclude your prayers. You feel the divine energy fill you, the conduit of Father Mountain's might, as it has for much of your life. You are stronger and more divinely blessed than you have ever been. And yet, some part of you still feels distant. There's many lingering questions, many uncomfortable truths relayed to the divine. Why have they been so absent? Why have they been so hesitant to commit? Why must you and so many of your fellows march to a brutal and bloody conflict that they have the possibility of stepping in and fixing? All your prayers have received inconclusive answers. And it weighs heavily upon you. And as you turn, you hear rumbling down the halls the sounds of all the dwarves of Dammerhall getting ready. Your daughter, young Freya's war machines, moving into action. The troops organized by your nephew, who you now know as your nephew, Nulgrim, marching bravely into battle, taught in the proper old dwarven ways, as you have instructed him. You hear the high morale and the foreign war horns of the allies that Fergus has brought, even when he ignores your advice on tradition. There's merit to it. And there is, of course, the stomping, beating sounds of Thrum's footsteps calling the army to action. You're stubborn, equal, and opposite within your little adventuring band. While all the others in your party are having their grandiose moments, you have a quiet one of reflection. You still have all the powers of a cleric, despite your questions of faith in Father Mountain. But as you hear the sounds of the readiness below, you realize that you still have plenty of faith within your soul. You have faith in your family, your friends, the people you have fought and bled along this way, of all the people that are marching forth to build a better world. And I think perhaps for the first time it occurs to you that this might be a chance, not for you to strive to reach the level of perfection that your gods boast, to challenge the God that you pray to reach your level, your righteousness. Taskell, it's time to lead by example. You enter the mountain and head to war.
One little addition to that I would do.
Absolutely.
So up on top of the mountain, as he hears the stomping of the boots, he stands. You'd see him glance off into the distance one more time, turn, set something down, and then that little classic cut would be a child's doll, a little dwarven figure, and next to it a much crudely made one that sort of resembles him. It was like one of the first things Freya had ever made. Because he was just not really praying for victory or guidance in the upcoming battle, but that Freya be given strength to shoulder the burden she has taken up. And with that, he goes down to join the rest.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. So, as the army is marching, we're going to have a war council with all the various leaders of the armies that you have brought into tow. Who would like to be present for that? Assumedly, Fergus and Nulgrim would, but obviously all of you could if you wanted.
Yes, of course.
Are we doing our speeches later, or are we doing it? I just wasn't sure when we were going to do it or not. Are we doing it right before we go down into the pit, basically?
What would you like to? Because the war council is like you're still in Dammerhall. It's just you're getting together with everyone and be like, all right, here's the plan. This is what we're gonna do.
Gotcha.
And then you can do the big speech.
Yeah, the speech thing I want to do when like all of, like the military is gathered, like all like the orcs, the elves, the humans that have come down to help, all of like the lot of everybody. When, like Fergus would give his speech. I just wanted to make sure that we kind of plan that out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah,
so Fergus, Nulgrim, who else is coming?
Freya.
All right. All right. Okay, so just Fergus, Nulgrim, and Freya. Sounds like Haskell and Thrubb are sitting it out.
I mean, that's
Team Young Crew.
I'd go. Yes.
Okay. Thrum?
Yeah, Thrum, want to go.
All right.
Okay.
Not Team Young. The old people got out of their lazy boys.
All right. On. I forgot to come up with a name for the leader of the Zingami army, so give me just 1 second.
His name is Steven.
It's okay.
Is anybody-
Not letting me
is
into your
roll-
game. Roll20's chugging along for me.
Yeah, I'm getting a gateway timeout error with Roll20.
I was able to
It
barely
just
get
loaded the homepage.
Yeah.
I was getting a gateway error too, but it just loaded the homepage for
Yeah,
me.
I
But now
had
I can't connect.
I had to
this
reload
game.
a couple times before it let me in.
We're still doing role play, so
Yeah.
Yeah, thankfully, because
yep.
Roll20 decided to yuck our yum over here.
Mm-hmm. Fucking technology, man. It's been really getting to me this last.
I was just gonna say you were just complaining about technology, and this happens on Dammerhall night.
And then when you die, we'll take your brain and put it in the computer, so you
Honestly,
can be.
I'm glad that I apparently got through that
Yeah.
entire speech narration thing that I had mentally planned without like breaking up or anything like that. I'm glad that got locked.
Audio's all been great so far. It's only Roll20's went down.
Mhm.
What is? Can you remind me what the name of the dragon we're gonna be going to fight is? I can't ever. Is it Encephalon?
Encephalon, the dread
Encephalon.
dragon with the worm in its brain.
Mm-hmm. All right, so gathered up in a war room, maps spread across the table. You have the representatives of the various armies. You have, of course, Miku leading the Fungus Coalition army. Iago is here, though he doesn't have a large contingent. He is speaking for the 80 adventurers that have signed on to the suicide mission, as they have been laughingly calling it throughout the temple, throughout the
What are we,
various
some kind of
taverns.
suicide squad?
You, of course, have Sazruk Snakeskin. He is speaking for the Red Dragon Maladraxus. And a new, fresher face for you guys is that you have a dragonborn commander wearing samurai-like armor, who I just Googled a name and I went for it, is Mo, M-O. So we're just going to go with...
He owns a bar for sure.
Yeah. You guys were talking about just naming him Jim, and then I used fantasy name generator Mo. Yes, that's the one. He's Mo. He's Commander Mo.
Commander Mo Sislak.
And finally, someone you guys haven't seen around, it was Aya Galian, who is the huntress of the Wood Elves, who made Fergus's bow.
Mm-hmm.
Representing her contingent of rangers. They have all gathered up. Iago is the first to speak. Well then, Your Majesty, what's the plan of attack? Also, if you guys would like, I can move you to this map. Right.
One area we're probably going to come out where they were investigating over here, right?
Yep, over by the quarry in the north.
Yeah.
So for those of you who can't see the map, I'll just quickly give a recap description. There is roughly divided into 4 quadrants. There's the northern section, where the quarry is. The western section, which looks like it has some sort of forest. The southern section, which has a bunch of pools of water. And the eastern section, which has a large hill fort. All 4 sections are connected to the central city by long bridges that go over the void.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm finally back in.
Still
Okay.
trying there.
So we've really got any idea where Encephalon is. Does anyone have any spells that could scry or something? I'm sure they've got defenses up against that, but give us some idea where.
I imagine he's in the city.
Want to kill him as fast as possible, I think.
Yeah, early recons have showed that there's like tent cities around the mouths of each of the bridges of a gathered army. So it's very likely that they're circled up within the city itself, because you do know that's where the avatars of Amaruk, his ultimate goal is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, even without the dragon himself putting anything up, the city itself was warded to an extent, wasn't it?
Sorry, say again, Kenneth, you were really quiet.
Said even without bringing up the dragon doing anything, the city itself was kind of warded, so...
Yeah.
Not saying don't try to scry, but...
So what do we think? The quarry would be the best place to try and come out of?
Well, I think that's where we're going to come out of no matter what, but it looks like we could go around and send some forces through the forest if we want to try to pincer between 2 directions. So we don't just try to basically, they have it, because otherwise they're going to have a chokehold if we go through one direction.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And we have the Black Iron Army. We can have them on the forefronts of both sides if we wanted to, and have the other people march behind them to provide cover and like additional support.
Was there another entrance we could march troops from?
You do know that directly underneath where you are right now in Dammerhall, there's a thin tunnel that connects. So if you just take the Grudge Carrier straight down, you'll get there. Roughly corresponding to the map, you'll imagine that'll be somewhere in the south over here. They only got 1 Grudge Carrier, and that's how the bulk of your forces are going to get down.
Yeah. And the downside if we do it that way is we're going to have a giant tunnel going up to Dammerhall, so...
Yeah.
And that's like... Roleplay wise, that seems like a bad idea if we plan on surviving.
Okay, so we're probably going to be So we want to march some of our troops through that forest and try and take this whole side real quick.
I mean, we have things called the Black Iron Shredders. They could probably shred through that fucking forest.
Yeah, we could have all of our troops come in this way and the Black Iron Army come in through another way. That's also... Because the Black Iron Army is with so many troops that it's its own force in and of itself.
Yeah.
So
Can
if
the
we
Black
want to
Iron
just have
Army
them shred
separate?
through the forest.
Yeah, the individual units of the Black Iron Army on the battlefield
Yeah.
could separate. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. We could prize some of them for both sides if we want to make like a pincer maneuver.
Yeah, use it as a shock force on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if the other people start dying, those things are going to take a long time to die.
Yeah, I like it. Any...
Did we have, I know you said there was the one leading a contingent.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me pop over here. I'll just look at the exact number.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll be enough to be a strike force of its own, but
Yeah, you had
sent through the wooded side there,
100 Elven Rangers. They're pretty elite. That's why they're in a small number.
especially since they're rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Question is where we send the orcs. The elves and
Send
the
them with the
dragons
elves,
would
of
probably
course.
get along well enough, but yeah, I don't think the orcs would get along with any of the forces we send.
Probably not.
Sazruk speaks up and says, "The Crimson Lord awaits word where we'll be gathering. He'll meet up to join us in battle." That would, of course, be Malatraxus himself.
Mm-hmm.
You promised him blood of Encephalon.
Yeah. Mally D definitely wants to see it.
The
It'll
orcs.
definitely be something like Encephalon that we get the blood of.
I mean, if we honestly want to have like a three-pronged pincers, once we get to the quarry, we could airlift the orcs to the eastern side and have the dragon meet up there, and they can attack from that direction. If we think they're not going to work well with others, and then people can hit the north and then the west.
Yeah, I like it. Load them up in the... Did we already have something loaded up in the flyers?
There was
Oh,
talk.
Early gigs.
Yeah, there was talk of using the whatchamacallit, the Centurion sounds like a mobile gun platform. But you don't have a ton of sky sloops, so it'll take a bunch of trips to ferry the entire army across.
Say it does run the risk of them getting intercepted as well.
That is true.
Yeah, because going from the quarry to the force, at least you have a land route to march around.
I really liked the idea of the Centurions shooting from the ships.
Okay.
Okay.
That was just fun when y'all figured that out at the end of the last one.
But so at least the plan, I'm not sure how we'll divide our troops. We would probably do that once we get the troops on like whatever field we want to do. But definitely I think going from the north and the west are probably our best options because judging from this map, there's a way to get to the western side without having to go over the giant chasm.
Great.
At least we'll have two different directions to go from.
It's also the issue that as soon as we do this, I sincerely doubt the drill is going to be very quiet, so they're going to start mustering immediately.
Yeah. That's why, we probably should keep most of our forces at the north, but we should still have like a good amount of people go around too, because otherwise all their forces are going to be blocking us, and that's going to create its own problem.
Commander Mo speaks up. What are the chances that we were able to surround the bridges and starve them out? A traditional siege. Those narrowness can work both ways.
Quite possible, but at the same time, we're working against time as it is because whatever Encephalon is doing in there, we don't know how long until he finishes it. but
Yeah, we don't know how far along he is with this apparent doomsday plan of his. That's why we didn't
We could
have
do a
as much
siege
time
on the
to-
city and then spend ourselves in there to go root out Encephalon.
Mhm. We still want to try to gain control of 2 of the bridges, regardless. I feel like,
Yeah.
and we can move from there if we decide to want to try to like stall them out and try to sneak in as like a covert operation afterwards. But we definitely want to at least try to gain control of these bridges, because there's no way he's going to like break the bridges down to like keep us from going in, because I'm pretty sure those are what keeping the city up. Unless it's magically floating, and then that's a whole other problem.
But I actually think I do like the idea of sieging the city and then sending us as basically special ops to take out Encephalon.
Mhm.
the other initial problem is going to be whatever irregular forces are manning the quarry, but those should only prove to be a speed bump, from what I recall of them.
Mhm.
That's assuming there aren't operations in the woods or the fields to the south and east of the city as well, but
All right. You ready to load up onto the Grudge carrier then?
I mean, sounds like we have the basics of the plan is to assault the 2 bridges,
Mhm.
and at least get control of them, and maybe lay a siege after that and sneak in. We'll have to play that part by ear, depending on how the troops look and how the whole fight's going.
Yep. All right. So you guys tell me if you want to do a speech and when, because how the sequence of events is going to go here is you're going to load up, you're going to ride and march out of Dammerhall. You're going to go north through Port Eversteam, and then you're going to reach the abandoned lab area, and you're going to start digging straight down until you reach the area on the map here. So
I'd probably do the speech before we load up into the Grudge carrier when everyone's getting gathered and stuff.
yeah,
Is that
Cool.
when
I
you're
probably do mine right before we start drilling.
Cool.
I think I'll do mine for the dwarves before we leave Dammerhall. That's where
Yeah.
I'm marching from units.
yeah, everyone
So I
everyone's
guess
been game masters. You tell me, paint the scene. I can just take a step back here.
yeah, I guess the order would be, if we're doing it this way, it would be Nolgrim, then me, and then Freya. I'm not sure if either of Taskell or Thrum would have speeches, though.
yeah, probably around the boarding as well. But
Can we take a quick bio just to
Yes,
help me
absolutely.
give a
While,
little bit of
while,
time to
while
put
he was
together?
doing his narration, I typed up a quick speech
Yeah.
and ran it through ChatGPT to improve my awful grammar.
ChatGPT.
Listen, if it can improve my terrible, terrible writing, but still have the writing that I wrote, I'm fine with that. I'm not having it make the speech for me, because then it would make no
Oh,
sense.
yeah.
I'm just trying to get back into roll 20.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah,
everyone
I've
else back in?
noticed. I'm back in, but when I try to load a character,
If you
I
look
go
at the
through
chat
the
log, every image is broken, so that's fun.
No.
I've still
for me.
got,
Not for you?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
but I didn't actually reload, so it just reconnected after an hour.
Yeah, the sheets are
might be
not
worth a
popping up
reload.
lot.
No.
I'm just gonna do a reload now. See what happens.
Yeah,
If
the
we
roll 20
actually
server shit.
get to
So.
anything that requires
I'm just gonna roll a die and see if it shows
reload,
up.
but
Yeah,
Sure,
Reports are
curiosity.
going down.
I'll
I'm
picture for
tracking
you.
it.
Yeah, my internet's still working just fine. So
It's definitely on roll 20
They
side.
peaked.
Yeah.
Reports peaked at like 720, like 6,000, and it's gone down to like half.
mhm.
at the very least, we can get
Yep.
all the role
There we
play
go.
out of the way tonight.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, there it goes
Uh,
again. Names disappearing. I still got Ferguson in the game.
yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
tried
still in there.
refreshing.
I
doing it
refreshed.
now.
I'm back in the game.
I'm gonna try to
Okay.
reload right now.
I'm getting the
Because they're
gateway
grayed out.
gateway timeout now.
I do find it funny back a minute ago when Michael was saying the audio had been fine. I got the Skype reconnect ping.
14 minutes ago, Roll20 posted on Twitter that they are currently investigating outages with the site. I will keep you updated.
Don't do this on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
It's always
Have
a
the site break.
Have you noticed
always
that?
a Wednesday.
This could be
And
the doom
Sprinkle
of
coffee on a
unleash internet
keyboard, and now we're all
microcelebrities,
fucked throughout all the
fellas.
Wednesday.
I had that entire narration thing just to get people really hyped
Dirty
up
mic
for
girl.
like, yeah, final battle time. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
No, I
That
enjoyed
was,
it.
I thought it was awesome.
I
You know,
just
I love
Roll20
the
with
camera going through.
gateway timeout. Yep, there it goes.
I just happened on the thought of Thrum being the drums in the deep, and I'm like, oh, I have to make that a thing.
That was awesome.
There we go. Now I'm back in.
And now
I think
everything
the only
works
thing you
for
messed
me.
up on is I don't have my flute right now because I gave it to the
Yep.
dragon because he wanted some collateral and apparently he
That-
accepted the flute.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But that's not like that big of a deal.
It's been a long campaign.
Yeah.
Well, Roll20 is pretty much fixed for me. If you guys want to try to re-roll again, I can even get into sheets now.
I got that red bar that said
Oh,
it was not working, so I tried to reload, and now I'm stuck at the gateway timeout screen.
Yeah, I'm back in the game, but the sheets are all whited out.
Yeah, I keep,
Yeah, I waited. Eventually, I'll load it.
once
in.
it refreshes, I'm still at gateway timeout.
Yeah. You know, as frustrating as this is with Roll20, the one thing that my entire virus snafu with my other computer has taught me is I was super grateful that so much of this work was online and not on my computer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because all the
That's why
characters.
I always use Google Docs.
Yep.
I keep that shit in the cloud.
Oh, I the actual game master like plot stuff I keep in physical notebooks. I write it with pencil.
I write it on WordPad, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, I'm ghetto as hell. Or I'll write it in Google Docs, but then I save a copy of it on an external hard drive so I don't lose shit anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm
One
real tired of
spilt
losing that
coffee, one flood, one tornado. It's over. It's gone forever. Docs. Google's going to be here until after my children's children are dead.
Probably.
So I can see the
You
text.
never know,
on
Yahoo
hand.
might take over again.
Our Alta Vista.
Oh my
If I
god, that's
live
right.
to be so old that Google is no longer like a business that everyone uses and it's just like the internet fucking kingpin, that'll be amazing, Kenneth, but I'm skeptical.
So a funny thing I heard is they had a newer animated Transformers movie. I actually heard was pretty good. I haven't seen it. I just saw a few clips from it. And something that I learned from that movie that was the most hilarious thing in a meta sense is they introduced a new bit of lore in Transformers where it is kind of like a derogatory slur to call another Transformer a GoBot.
Transformers slurs.
Just back the truck over the other guys. God. GoBots were first and they got so thoroughly destroyed.
It's fun. Like, that's what happens to just things in general. Like, Oreo wasn't the original Oreo.
Yeah, it was Hydrox.
I saw a clip on YouTube of some morning show that didn't have anything to talk about that morning, so they talked about the first AI slur, Clanker. It's like,
Yeah, now Roll20's not letting me back in now.
Oh, Roll20.
Remember when Mythweavers had that big crash and we all lost our character sheets?
oh
Mhm.
my god.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and then they did something to change their URL, and now it no longer works unless you go to that new URL.
Hmm. You can still back into their old one.
Yeah, it's fucking
Because I've still got all
stupid.
my sheets there.
I think they realized people weren't actually using their website other than the character sheets.
Well,
Like,
yeah, because
separate.
if you try to report something to the support fucking is horrible. Like they talk to you like you've done something wrong by contacting them.
Yes.
I forget for whatever reason I ended up contacting them at some point, like just in the forum or whatever, and they were fucking horrible.
There is a certain level of what the fuck did you do when you're doing tech support, but at the same time, yeah, kind of unprofessional, I'd imagine.
Well, I'm down with a little bit of what the fuck did you do? The problem that gets me,
Well,
especially
what
what
the
I was
fuck is your
dealing.
job? What? If you don't want to deal with what the fuck I did, then don't be Roll20 support, jackass. That's your literal job description, is to deal with what the fuck I did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's in the job description. I'm just saying.
The one that got me with Sea of Thieves is when I said this stuff that I've already tried, and then they responded with, "Well, have you tried this stuff?" And I said, "Yes, that's the stuff that I said I tried in my original notes."
And then they're like, huh.
Yeah.
We're just gonna mark
Yeah,
this
we
as solved.
can't
Have a
help
good day.
Yeah.
Have you considered buying a gun?
This
Have you
isn't Texas.
considered-
This is Roll20.
Have you considered
not funny.
buying an Xbox to play Sea of Thieves?
Have you considered buying a new computer? We can recommend you some websites. Have you heard of Starforged PCs? They're advertised everywhere online now.
I haven't seen that, actually. I haven't seen
You haven't?
Starforged.
I just see it periodically. I'll watch a streamer and they'll like advertise it.
You
Or
used
they'll
to always
advertise
get
it on another streamer.
Alienware. Alienware was what everyone advertised.
Oh yeah, that's
Long time.
my
And then-
that's my old computer that just went bust. Was Alienware.
Every now and then I'll see a Meta PC. But I don't really see computers advertised too much now. I don't know.
I mean, it's not really worth advertising. The
Yeah.
profit margins of computers is already pretty low, from what I heard.
I'm
Like, you
back.
still make a profit, but
Hey,
you know, they go out of date so fast.
Isn't the whole idea ripping you off? Like,
Yeah.
if you're buying a
Well,
computer,
pretty
right?
much any pre-built, yeah.
all
I tried it,
right.
but I
But it's
can't
also,
afford it to build my own. I didn't do this last time though.
Yeah.
I'm
It's also
paying
that
for
in theory, all their stuff they know works together.
Mhm.
Oh
And
yeah, no,
not
I
experience.
bought PCs that I bought them knowing that I was spending way more money than I needed to. But it was
Yeah,
convenience.
Yeah, that's exactly that's what I do when I buy pre-built PCs. All right, so I'm back into Roll20. The music
I'm
doesn't
still
turn
not
on,
able to get into it.
and
I'm
my
still gateway
sheets
timed out.
and my
Yeah.
sheets are just fully whited out. So
Mostly narrative tonight.
executive decision. Let's do some kick-ass speeches, and then I guess I don't know, play Raft or something.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so starting with Nolgrim, before we leave
Nolgrim.
the city, gathering our troops.
Yeah.
Yes.
In I'm imagining that it's in that big parade square where so many times we've marched our troops through. Would Freya be presenting? No. Would Freya be? What would Freya be doing with our mechanized army? Is that just basically traversing the tunnels at this point while I motivate our troops?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
they'd probably be waiting for us by the time we got there.
Okay. So yeah, in the parade ground, you'll have all of our troops all filed in there. Basically arrayed and ready to march. Along the peripheries, you'll have every citizen that could make it and get a view doing the same. Nolgrim would not take a stage, but he would stand ahead of them, ahead of the column, and actually, go ahead and just elevate himself using magic to fly where all could see him, and project his voice out upon the crowd. Our people's history is rich with epics of dwarves who have met adversity with unyielding resolve. Tales of our ancestors so inspirational that they carried the pride of our people even when our home was lost. I, like so many of you, wanted to live a life where my name could reach the lips of dwarven skalds, not for personal glory, but to inspire generations to come. Much like, to inspire generations to come. Our day has come, brothers and sisters of Dammerhall, not to simply inspire our people for the future, but to give them that future. Everything is on the line, so we will hold nothing back and we will come together like never before. We will fight alongside allies and foes because what we do in the days to come will determine the future for us all. We have reclaimed our home. Now it is time to remind the world that Dammerhall and its people are capable of accomplishing, it is time to remind the world what Dammerhall, sorry, let me rephrase. Yes. Okay. Now it is time we remind the world what Dammerhall and its people are capable of accomplishing. I think I can think of no better way to start that than to save the whole fucking world. Are you with me? And at that, there would be the resounding cheers, and with that, we march. And I imagine, the dwarven people all there cheering along our soldiers and just giving everybody that sense of purpose and reminding us what we're fighting for.
The one elven merchant in the crowd be like, well, that was a little bit, pointed towards one person or one people.
I mean, at the end, I did specify Dammerhall and his people.
No, I'm making a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Duros. They know what they did. I'll find the little bastards. Thus the army marches.
So I imagine we don't fill up the weird caterpillar death machine.
The Grudge carrier.
Grudge carrier. Inside of Dammerhall, because there's some people who probably don't let in Dammerhall, like the whole army of orcs and all that, everything else.
Yeah. It could probably handle most of your foot troops if you don't put the Black Iron Army in there. So the Black Iron Army it's larger than your other gathered force. I would check tabs to look at the numbers, but then Roll20 would probably freaking steal my bank account or something.
But I imagine it's like it's been wheeled outside or whatever, however it travels. I haven't really had a thorough description of it yet, but
piston legs, according to Michael.
Yeah, but largely it's probably like it's out, it's getting ready to be loaded in. You see like the various peoples setting up their supplies, sharpening their weapons, just doing all the pre-march stuff they need to get done. Fergus is probably being a little antisocial and just probably watching people from whatever like part of the cave wall he could climb up and just like look down at everybody. And he's up there like thinking for a minute and like realizes like, I'm not even technically, I am the one that has the most authority here. I probably should say a speech. Like he's saying this internally to himself. And he does that thing where he just kind of sighs and just jumps down onto the top of the Grudge carrier to like get some height to everyone else to announce himself, and so people could hear him clearly. He, I don't know, he either whistle or you probably whistle to get everyone's attention as people like take notice of him. He would begin speech.
Several clerics use that spell to make your voice louder.
Yep, thaumaturgy, I think it is, right? Yeah. And he begins his speech. My warriors, my kin, and all those who stand with us, whether through loyalty or through necessity, hear me now. Today we march not just to defend our homes, but to safeguard something greater than any of us will know in our lifetimes. We do not fight for the praise of our comrades or the comfort of our families. We do not strive for glory nor seek fame. We rise to defend the very bedrock of our existence. Understand this. We fight with the hope that the ground beneath our feet will remain ours, that the forests above and the mushrooms hidden in the darkest corners of the Underdark will endure. If we falter, none will remain safe. But I believe in our cause, and I believe that no matter our origins, we all seek to live and to prosper in our rightful places. In our enemies are many, and our lives may be fleeting, but what we achieve with that life will define us. Today we march. Death to our foes. Victory for those who will inherit our legacy that we will forge ahead. In the days to come, Encephalon will fall. And that's basically what I have for the speech.
Yep. More cheers.
Yep.
Get them
That's all
hyped up. Woo!
That's my king.
I voted for that guy. That's how monarchy works, right? Guy gets hit by a rock.
Weirdly enough, this time. Yes.
All right. It takes probably a week and a half for the entire marching armor, probably closer to 2 weeks, to reach the area where you're going to begin digging down. My understanding of the function of the Grudge Carrier is that it'll leave a smooth tunnel that's traversable behind.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so it would be no trouble at all to have the Black Iron Army, who does not care about terrain or fatigue, just to march down the tunnel behind the Grudge Carrier as it goes. I know you want to give a speech here, Freya, but before you do that, as the forces are gathered up, the large construct of the Grudge Carrier, the literally over 10,000 golems aligned in neat, orderly rows, leaking black smoke that everyone else is giving a bit of a wide berth to. There is the blare of orcish war horns and the beats of marching drums. Coming down the tunnel from the north is the orcish army. Not on a war path for once, but here to join you. And you can feel the roiling wall of heat as soaring over their head is Maladraxus, the Red. He lands next to the Grudge Carrier, refusing to be the smallest thing here. Rears up, and with a claw, gives a ting to the Grudge Carrier, and a dismissive His burning gaze goes over the Black Iron Army and turns to you, because I imagine you five are gathered up. I see you have decided to use your greatest weapon after all. Should I be insulted that you did not consider me worth using it?
Do you want to respond?
I was gonna say, I'm trying to think of how I would say it, but somehow implying that I wasn't there, so I couldn't make the call. Basically, trying to gut some, basically yuck his face and saying that if I was there, I would have made the call to use it against you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Very well. Fire up your machines. Make us a path, so that way my claws may find my ancient foe. I am eager to be done with this battle and this alliance.
As am I, Maladraxus. Then we can finish this little dispute of our own.
You see his large eyes flick to the Black Iron Army and back to you. Indeed. And he'll still be present, but he'll withdraw if you want to do your speech, Freya.
Yeah. With a wave of her hand, all of those fly drones accompanying the Grudge Carrier and all of her mech suit units, a rune glows on all of them that you hadn't seen before, and it broadcasts her voice out amongst the troops. And she says, I know today came sooner than any of you wished. And you'd likely hope to spend your days in Dammerhall peacefully with your kin. But instead, you are here, ready to fight and keep them safe. Today you took leave from your loved ones. You found strength. You've taken up arms in a fight from which many of you may not return. But this isn't just another clash. This is the fight that will shape all that comes after. For years, you've made your gear, you've built shields, and readied yourselves. Some of you have grown so used to the forge, the metal, and the smell of oil, that this almost feels like a home. But I tell you now that this war is not a home. There's a dark pit that threatens to swallow us whole, and with the Grudge carrier, we will dive headlong into it with all we've made and all that we've become. Our foe is stronger, swifter, more ruthless than any we've faced, and they believe that they can break us because they see themselves as invincible. But let me tell you now that Encephalon fears us. Encephalon fears us not because we are unbreakable. No, he fears us because we have been broken, and yet we stand again and again. He tries to crush us, but we've always risen. Today we fight not just for our kin, but for the world above and below, and for everyone who should be free from fear. Not long ago we were split, almost forgotten, but now we are one stronger than ever. And then she would look out into the crowd and see if she can spot her father, and then she would say, and I know that many of you feel as if we've been abandoned by Mother Fire and Father Mountain. But let me tell you, they've not turned against us. Their grace lies within us. It is our very blood to stand as dwarves, to be as metal, broken, but ever able to be reforged each time, stronger than the last. We are fire and stone. And with that, she would give the signal to start the drill.
And the cheers of affirmation are drowned out by the sound of machines of war revving into full force, and rock giving away before fine woven artifice. And no one is even remotely alarmed that all the weapons you have secret features that only Freya knows about.
Oh, they're public. Everyone just doesn't care.
I know, I'm just joking. I was going to say, hey, so by the way, Michael, if you're going to coup when this is done, you should let me know in advance.
And then the razor blades turn on. What razor blades? All of them.
Mm-hmm. Your Dammerhall pattern underwear.
Operation Secession Crisis is a go.
Oh, it's not going to be a crisis. It's just going to be a massacre. It's going to be a whole, congratulations on saving the world, gang. I know everyone's really tired from fighting all these bad guys and our forces are all worn out, but you know who isn't tired? My Black Iron Army. Wouldn't you know it? You're all in a city suspended over a void of nothingness. I cast fly.
You know, that's the funny thing about these guys. They never get tired.
And they're really good at destroying bridges, too.
They just keep killing and killing till all the folks who need killing are killed.
All right, I got a little bit more narration before we'll have to call it for tonight because Roll20's being a bitch. I can say that. We have 20 subscribers. We're a person. We should call them up.
Now we're never getting sponsored.
Yeah, we're also
Hey,
2 hours in. Apparently, they only care about cussing in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Oh,
Hey,
say the
hey,
worst word you know.
I know several that will get us instantly demonetized, but I'm not going.
No kidding. No, I've been to the server. Don't do it.
Politics.
yeah, we need to call up Roll20 and say, hey, we are the Pixel Buddies. You need to get your act together.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, we have 20 subscribers. Only 5 of them are us. There are 6 of us, but Gombo doesn't have faith in this project.
But
So
to
he
be
never
fair,
subscribed.
We had 20 people accidentally click the button on the interface.
and to be fair, we know that at least 5 people have or 20 5 of our fans have subscriptions to Roll20 because of our channel. At least
Hey,
I
we're making you
do.
money.
How
So
many?
you need to
How
make sure
many?
this shit's up on Wednesday. We make the worst content on the site to view.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go
Yeah,
that far.
No,
those
no,
also
definitely
videos
not.
are still up.
I would argue that
I
we
have
make some of the
seen
best
worse.
content for people that aren't focused on content.
It's true.
By the way, can I just go on a quick tangent before we get back to stuff?
Yeah.
Just because we're on the topic of YouTube.
If you have
hate so
ADHD,
much-
this is the show for you.
I hate so
ahead,
much when people are trying to make a point on like YouTube about like, oh, this thing is doing this or whatever. Like, and like I point out in my book that you should buy,
Mhm.
I hate that so much. It completely devalues any point you're trying to make.
Oh
that you're trying to
yeah,
make.
no, that is my least favorite thing when someone's like, here's the problem with all of the modern capitalist systems. By the way, here's our sponsor, NordVPN.
Right?
Like, I get it. You gotta do.
You gotta get your bag, but
Mhm.
it just completely takes me out of anything they're trying to make a point of.
The only one I respect is one guy who does it. He's often sponsored by, I forgot what it was called, but it's like they send you this green protein powder to make smoothies with, and he does ad reads for them. And in each and every one, he drinks it, and he is so nakedly and not hiding the fact that it's agony for him each time. He's like, sponsored by them, you can get your vitamins.
Oh, that used to be.
Oh.
Yeah, before Alex Jones became the press secretary,
God damn it.
he had these hilarious, exactly what that was, where he would try the fucking protein supplements and he would just choke them down, and it's obvious he can't like smile through it because it tastes like hell. So he's just like fucking choking it down. Fucking the alpha brain, the gorilla mind.
The historian turns his ad reads into shit posts.
All right, last thing. I don't know why my cell phone had this be a YouTube ad, but I got an ad for tactical raincoats, and I hate that there's this entire line of products where they're clearly just normal things, but they put the word tactical in front of it.
Like that means that it
Oh,
has more
sunglasses.
pockets.
Well, flashlights.
Oh, I don't have
tennis rackets.
sunglasses are tactical, but I think
It's
any
got
sunglasses
Velcro
are
on the
tactical.
side.
Oh, true,
Velcro on
true.
the side so you can add your what do they call that crap?
The various
Listen.
things.
There's an entire market for it.
What does
They
a
just-
water bottle need a Picatinny rail for?
Yeah, exactly that kind of shit. Give it as a
It's
Christmas
got a
present
compass on the bottom and an extra scope.
for your family.
You live in Detroit.
My combat knife has a bipod.
What forests are you planning to get randomly teleported to?
All of them.
Well, when I do, I don't have to worry because I do have on my tactical waterproof boots.
No, I live in Detroit. That's what the gun is for.
Wearing my tactical onesie with my tactical butt flap so I can take a
I can't remember. I remember someone making a joke about tactical stuff before, and they were like, "I got my tactical gamer girl bathwater right here." It was a while back that I remember that joke.
Jesus Christ, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it really was. It was so bad. I can't believe that was a thing. Probably still is, honestly.
It definitely still is.
Listen, nothing really shocks me when I found out they sold used vending panties out of a vending machine in Japan. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's
What?
you're just
Yeah.
taking their their word for
Poor
it.
Cope,
too.
he's learning all kinds of things tonight.
So, Cope, you know when I say there's a deep sickness of the heart of Japanese culture? Every time we bring up Japanese culture.
I didn't know you say that, but I'm leaning towards that. Okay.
I have heard that's a myth, but at the same time, it's a believable myth.
It's a country that brought you maid cafes, so
Brought you
We're,
what?
we're really drifting off topic because there was a little more I was going to do, but I
Yeah.
genuinely don't understand the appeal of those. I really don't. I would feel so
It's like a-
uncomfortable the entire
it's like
time.
a porno theater. Like, why are you
Like-
going? You can't
like-
do the one thing you're there for,
Like,
or you're gonna get caught up like Pee Wee Herman.
I
Yo,
was
oh
waiting
my
for someone to say
God.
Pee Wee Herman.
He did
You know,
nothing wrong.
Most of them
There
are
was,
just themed restaurants, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I know it's mostly just themed restaurant. Like I get
I'm
cat
Pee Wee
cafes.
defender.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay,
I'll
then
go on.
tell the
I'll
story.
go in public. I'll scream that from the rooftops. I'm a Pee Wee defender. Okay, that was not public masturbation. He was in a porno movie theater. No one under 18 should be there. And if you're in there, what do you expect? You're in a porno movie theater. Get the
Like
fuck
what?
over it.
Yeah,
Those
seriously,
cops
what do you expect when you go
fishing-
into a porn
That's
theater?
Those
true.
cops were fishing for arrests, and
He just happened to be
got
famous.
That's
Okay,
literally
so
all it was.
Pee Wee Herman crack. say.
Years and years ago, before I traveled to Montreal to try to do that entire thing, I got curious and I looked up famous things to see in Montreal, and in the top 5 results was this theater that advertised it was the oldest still running porno theater in North America. I'm like, if these walls could talk,
They
Oh
would
my
keep
God.
screaming.
They'd be
Kill
traumatized.
me, kill me.
Oh God, we're touching the floor.
oh man.
Oh, this wall's really into it. I don't like that.
All right. I'll finish up my last narration thing, then we'll probably just have to call it early because Roll20 is still being a pain.
Yeah. I still can't
Okay.
get into it. I don't think. Oh no!
Yeah,
Finally, let me
Final
load it.
narration.
Because the drill has an army trailing behind it, you can't go just like straight down at a 90-degree angle. You have to kind of do a spiral to dig the tunnels down, so it takes still a couple days to do it. But eventually, the drill breaks through the ceiling of the void below. And your Grudge carrier and the Black Iron Army emerges out into the north field, just to the west of the quarry from where you explored before. Early scouts are deployed, securing the area. Doesn't take long before reports start coming in. They've located the quarry, but it looks like it's been hastily abandoned. Your suspicions are quite correct. That drill was not silent. This is not a surprise attack. And they have pulled back. However, something that is interesting is you still very much see the glowing green lights of Dir Amaruk, the Druar city at the center. But the orange glow of the tent cities around the bridge entrance directly to the south of you is absent. Looks as if the entire army of Encephalon has either moved or pulled back. What are your orders for the deployment of the forces? We don't have to get to fine numbers right now because Roll20 is being a pain, but
I think at this point, focus on securing a perimeter. I think
Yeah,
that might be.
focus
Yeah.
on the perimeter. Heavy troops should stay on this side. More mobile
Mhm.
troops, I think, should go through the forest,
Some
Gotcha.
scouting together.
and probably bring some shredders from the Black Iron Army to go in there and just clear the path for them.
Scouting of the other 3 bridges would probably be a good idea.
Send like maybe flyers to kind of scout out the other bridges.
Yeah,
Like, because I know we have those the Wyvern Riders for the
yeah. I think they
Yeah,
did
the
work for
orcs.
it.
that'd
Yep.
be good for them to do.
Yeah, they've got. If they have pulled back into the city, they've got the defensive advantage, both from walls and bridges. But That remains to be seen.
Mhm.
I did have a funny image of as we're going down, the golems are just passing the rock that we dug up back up to the surface because we always kind of brush over tunneling and getting rid of the waste stone. Just handing the stones.
Yeah, what you bring up a good point. We literally have just an army of robots that can just do it for us.
Yes, but we'll get into the charisma saves for Freya when he's not being itself.
Alrighty.
All
I think the last time we had a session, we did point out to her that if it becomes too much, that she can pass it to one of us.
Yeah.
And Nogrim did say that he'd be staying close to her and just helping bolster her resistances.
Yeah. Just covering our bases because
Yep.
she's totally not going to go insane, guys.
No.
All right. So while the full results of your far field scouting, we're going to have to wait for next time we play. I'll leave us with a few things. Quarry does appear to be abandoned, though there's still a vast amount of God's blood in the ground. They were not done working. Early scouts return, though. It does look like everyone has pulled back into the city. Defenders have been sighted along the wall of the long, narrow bridges. There are around each the one gate you can get to, the other two you haven't scouted out yet. There are two large towers that have absolutely colossal artillery cannons pointed down bridge. And a tall, fortified Durgar-made gate. But the really interesting part is that makes your scouts quite confused is that by all reports, including those on scouts, there was tent cities around the bridges. Not only are they gone, but they have found no trace of them. Unless they are all super special forces that sweep up after themselves very cleanly, there should be something, but it's just barren rock. Not even a left kitten or a spike for setting up a tent. Or holes for where they were.
So they maybe can teleport their encampment.
Sorry, say again, Michael? You sound like you were saying it from across the room.
Sorry, I had my mic up. Yeah. They maybe can teleport their whole encampment, maybe. I don't know. Just thinking out loud.
I think there'd still be trash or scars in the dirt. But...
So what, we're like eaten by a gelatinous cube?
Was it a
Maybe it was a illusion, yeah.
Maybe they're using them for sacrifices?
That still doesn't explain the complete disappearance of all the tents and all the material.
Either it was an illusion or it is an illusion now.
Any idea?
Or what if they had just a big teleportation circle around their encampment?
Nolgrim would turn to Fergus, and I mean, your brother was managing this side of this area, right? Any idea what sort of tricks might be in his wheelhouse that could explain this? Do you think that
He's
might
not
be
the stealthy type. If he was going to come after us, he'd be just attacking us. After we gotten down here, has the metal that's been inside my body been moving any more than usual?
You're more conscious of it, I guess is the best way to explain.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem like someone sees me, so they're trying to manipulate it with their vision too, or anything like that? Okay. I think I might have something for this. Give me 1 second if I can actually pull up my character sheet.
Yeah, I can't access any of my sheets, so.
No, I don't have that until next level. Okay. That's me to like detect shapeshifters and hidden things.
Yeah, the reports have plateaued, but not at 0. So it looks like probably some of the regional servers are down.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else you want to get out for this session, or should I God,
All right,
stop.
that's all I have. So it's any discussion that you guys want to have. Anything else is start getting into dice rolling and numbers. So
We will fight
Gumbo,
them on the
thinking back-
beaches.
yes, Cope.
Thinking back to that moment that Thrum had in the quarry of the dried blood, was his thought that if he connected with the quarry and it formed around him, he'd lose his connection to the fire pit or to the heart of the mountain?
No, it would be like in addition thing, but
Okay.
if you formed that connection and you got all the power from the quarry of the god's blood, you will essentially die eventually. It is a pseudo-sentient and very dangerous force. You're not going to turn into like a berserker monster, but you'll eventually just fully be subsumed by it.
Got it. Okay, so we'll keep that one in our back pocket.
In case of emergency, break glass.
Yes, in case of emergency, throw Thrum into quarry.
Don't dead open inside.
In case of kaiju battle,
Yes,
super kaiju battle, really. Like if
because who
Rita throws her
wouldn't
staff to the
sacrifice-
earth. And,
Yeah, who wouldn't sacrifice their character in the last battle of a campaign to save the world?
I mean, the way
No
things are
hands are going up.
going,
What do you mean? Things are positive so far.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really
Sorry.
have a
Seasonal.
place to put it in, but since we're wrapping up, Taskell would have left plans to try and, like I was talking about the anti-intrusion thing with the wards, but hastily modified to maybe possibly spare Dammerhall from the destruction of the world if we fail.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
We got to win or die first, and
Mm-hmm.
then that'll come into play.
As it's probably credited to Leonidas, but it's actually probably under some other Spartan dude. If they got all those, it was actually like a word in Greek for the fucking Spartan art of shit talk.
really?
Like they trained it. They trained it
That's
warriors
awesome.
in shit talk. That's why they have all those stories of them shit talking very well. They were all good at it at a cultural level.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
That's gonna have to be something I include in a homebrew world.
Yeah, I'm definitely throwing that into Richard's campaign making game.
It's something that I have found that the people that come from the British Isles have some sort of natural ingrained talent for some of the most amazing profanity that I've ever heard. I until I heard a Scottish person say it, I've never heard anyone described as a wasted cock droplet.
A what? A wasted.
Cock droplet.
Oh God, that's good.
I'm like, is that something you heard? Did you come up with it? Like that's magnificent.
Right? That's like disarmingly vivid, right? Just
Yeah.
wow.
I guess we can stop the recording now, Kenneth.
On that note,
Might not want to include that one, but
A Spartan king answering after being asked how he fostered such a great reputation. He says, by showing contempt for death.